Hey everyone. So I'm going to give this about 30 seconds. Going to take a last little sip of my Dr. Pepper here, and then I'm going to get started. And you're going to get a little bit of a bonus with this. I have had this Creative Memories box sitting here since pretty much a couple of weeks, and I haven't had a chance to open it yet. So I'm actually going to start and just kind of doing the box unveiling live this time around, and then I'll jump right into the pre-designed pages. So this, as I said, is can't tell if you can see me in there or not, but this is the November Facebook Live video. And we're talking about what we call in Creative Memories lingo, the Fast2Fab pre-designed pages and what they look like. I'm adding in the custom covers, the custom albums, just to kind of do a full recap now that I've tried all of them. And I'm throwing in initially this box. So let's go ahead and see what's in here. If you've seen any of my posts right now, there's a special going on where you get this large mystery bundle if you spend $150. So I wanted to show you a couple of the November items, just in case something like this triggers something for you and what you'd want to purchase to get to that bundle. That bundle includes a canvas tote. It includes an album cover that you get to choose. I think we're down to 2 selections. We started with 3 different album sizes or covers, and we're down to just 2 now. One of them did sell out. And then there's also a piece to it that you get a mystery card kit, and I believe there was a paper pack also and stickers in there. So it was a pretty good kit. I think the kit value itself is $109. So if you're spending $150 and you get $109 free, that's almost like doubling the value. So I think that's actually a pretty good idea. So hey Laura, hey Rebecca, Barbara, Cassandra, and right now my phone holder's covering up some other folks, so if you're still on, hello, whoever I'm missing at the moment, your name will pop up the next time somebody else comes on. So with this Creative Memories box, the first thing we have here is the standalone border punch, which is the Dazzle. It's probably not going to be until Sunday, or it'll be over the Thanksgiving holiday, but I have a lot of new examples to show you on how you can use these. So this is the design, and as you can tell, it's actually in a curved pattern. So what that's going to do for you is it's actually going to give you several options. If, for example, we're just going to take this envelope and you thought that this was a photo, you could actually add this to the top of it to be kind of like a mat for the top piece. So that's, definitely one option there. You can actually make this all the way around and it becomes a circle. You can do this on the borders of your actual paper before you put it down on the scrapbook page. So there's a lot of different things you can do there. Now, I'm in love with this one. Sometimes they're, a little different. Hi, Erin. So this is the crystal chain, which is for the Border Maker cartridge. And yes, if you're just coming on, I'm adding a sneak peek of the November products that came out at the beginning of the month. I got my box and I wanted to share it. So that, let's see if I can get that better angle for you. There we go. So that's what that one's looking like. And you can see it here as well. Let's get that angle. This is really, really, really cute. I've seen some gorgeous samples on this, so I definitely want to post those for you. And this is a thin box, so there's only a couple other things in here. The Winterberry collection happens to be what was the main theme that they came out with for November. And if you're new to Creative Memories, they're always a month or 2 ahead So last month we got Merry Little Christmas, and we got another collection, and then we've got this one. So we have a number of different colors for this. So with the Winterberry, it is very light and muted tones. So you've got like these navy to kind of purple, lilac colors. And that's pretty much how the whole thing is on this. So just pulling it in close so you can actually see what these stickers look like a little bit more. Hi Gail, hi Mary Jo. The laser borders, which I actually adore these. I use these a lot. So they're full size. You could cut them in half. You could put them on Christmas cards. You can overlap them. If you just need something to run down the side of your page just to have a border, these are incredible, and they're really great to do that with. And what tends to happen is the color, there's one light and then there's a darker side on it. So it's pretty cool. And then the other thing that I did get this time was I did get the paper pack as well. So this again, this one has trees, and you can tell it's very Smoky Mountain-like. I actually could see that used for this. In those kind of mountains. There's only a couple of them. This one has snowflakes, but a lot of them I think could have multiple uses. And anytime you get a pack that has kind of those muted blues, it's also something that could be used for a little bit more masculine images and such. This, for example, is the actual trees. So I wanted to show you that it's really pretty. I definitely love this color scheme that they came out with this time. Okay, so lastly, they had a couple new colors that they added to the cardstock. And this dark sea green is kind of a favorite color of mine. It's very sort of teal, but on a little bit more of a darker edge. So I love that color. Okay, so that's everything from the box. So what did I want to show you here? I'm actually just moving the camera a little bit. Hi, Amy. I know there's a couple folks who came on that I've missed, but I wanted to move in now to the pre-designed pages. A lot of folks don't use these because they're pretty much thinking, you know, they're either plain and they just put photos right on their page, which is perfectly fine, or they want to be completely creative on their own. The nice thing about these is it still allows you to do 90% of the creativity that you want to do, but you don't have to add a piece of paper to it because it already gives you a background color to it. And here, of course, I'm speaking to those who actually use the Creative Memories albums. Not everybody does. A lot of people like the 3-ring albums because it's a lot easier to move pages in and out of. You can do it in 5 seconds instead of the you can, if you actually do it enough, you can get it down to about 20-30 seconds to actually get a page and put it, you know, in a different order. But if you do use the albums, then you're probably using these pages or the black, the white, the sparkle, the natural color pages. And those are really the folks who are going to be interested in this, unless you're considering the albums, in which case, take a look at these as well. So what we have, and I'm going to show you both some photos that, some pages that are no longer available or that might be on the last chance section of the website, as well as some that are currently available. I'm actually going to open up this pack that's currently available for you. So here we have the Gather Together. And like I said, I love it because some of the benefits from this are the thickness goes down because you aren't adding all those layers of paper and things like that. You don't have to do a matte end paper behind it to add the thickness, because a lot of times, you know, our books are already thick enough. We have a lot of photos, or maybe we're using some kind of 3D embellishments or raised embellishments. So anytime that we can cut back on that, it's a good thing. And frankly, if you already have it designed, you don't need to buy the paper. And when the pages themselves are the exact same price as blanks, I would say if you've never tried them, pick one that you like a couple of the ideas on, and then just use it. Because while, for example, I scrapbook in 2-page layouts, so I would want to continue the whole theme through, somebody else may just need something for 1 page. And it's a great filler for that. If you already put paper on your page, this is a great thing that I would recommend everybody try one of. And who knows, if you try it, if you buy it from me, try it, and you don't like it, I may buy back the extra blanks from you, because I enjoy these so much. So there's a potential offer for you. Pretty much a low risk offer. So here's the Gather Together one. This, I have this marked in Last Chance. I don't know if it's still in there, because I every so often I'll go in and update my notes itself, and then I'll put a no longer available sticker on it. But this was definitely, you can tell, very Thanksgiving sort of oriented. This was actually last year's Thanksgiving version from September of 2018. And it's got some gorgeous things on it. So what does this actually look like? That's what I'm going to do here. And I'm just going to, again, tilt this so you can get a better view here. Hi, Mary Jo. Hi, Tanya. So they actually do a little bit of adjustments there. And as you can see, I actually do have some of the pages filled out in here, but not all of them yet. So there are some pages with this one that come with mats. All the newer versions, they no longer have matte boxes. That was one of the concerns people had, is they couldn't see past the box if, for example, the box was horizontal like this, but the verticals, you had vertical photos, they couldn't really see how do you adjust for that. Is it still going to look good? So this itself is just an example of 1 page. And then there was actually 2 pages. And I'm actually going to go to the back, because those are things that I have not actually done anything to yet. So that way you can see these first before I show you what I actually did. And looks like I have to blow my nose. 1 second. Okay, so what do we have here? We've got this gorgeous layered, I love this kind of mountain kind of coloration here, the ombre look. And then that's what you've got there. And this background here is these little chevrons. And then you have 2 pages that are identical, so they both look like this. This actually is lined, so you could use that in a number of ways, just, you know, in addition to journaling. This page just gives you an example here. And the left side of this is pretty similar. It has the same boxes, it just does not have that. This is a 2-page spread again with the same coloring. If you noticed here, we had the pink, the peachy, and we have it here again. It's on both pages. So, I mean, it's really gorgeous, and you can do a lot of different things with it. Here's this one. Then the left side is identical. Here's this, where we just have, this is like a border on here, and again, you just have that chevron pattern. The right side is different. They've actually done this sort of circular leaf pattern. So you could put a photo in there. You could do anything. You don't have to think circular just because that's circular. Again, here they've got one for 3 photos, but you can always, if I have smaller ones, I will put 2 on here. You can always put another mat, you know, one of our slide-in variety mats, to cover this up if this is not the color palette that you want. You can do that with any of them. Now we have the same one here in the blues. And that's one thing that I really like about this, because it does have a lot of different options. Now, I am going to stop here for a second. Say you love this so much that you wish you had an entire album that just had these pages. You pretty much can do that through the custom pages set up. Now that's a lot more expensive because this set of pages with page protectors is $29.50, but you're going to pay $59.50 without page protectors if you go that custom route. The reason for that is they're also expecting that you would drop your photos on, so it's a digital option. But what you can do is make every single page change the layout to match whatever photos you want in terms of designs, in terms of the actual background colors and everything. So just jumping to the front again, what did I do with this? So all I did here, this is actually part of the page. So all I did was I just added this border, this with some text, and I shortened up a photo because I wanted to keep enough of this matte showing. And in here, I just have 2 pages where you can tell this is the same mountain kind of ombre shapes that's in green. And then I added this border at the bottom and added a whole bunch of little colored flowers. And I did the same thing here on this side along with one of the titles from somebody that I've shown you earlier in one of the prior month's videos. I believe that was, yep, in July. So this is a case where I just added a strip down the side because it was black and it had this. And then I actually had one photo for here, and in here I just wanted to actually, I don't have any photos, I just put a couple of embellishments on it. And on this side I actually do have photos. So you can add, just because this has the 2 boxes, you can go beyond that. And here's an example of what I did with this 2-page. So I'm just going to back the camera up slightly. Okay, so with this one here, again, I've got the 2 photos here, and then I actually added this mat, and then again, I added some more of the leaves. And then I did the same thing over here, and I put 3 across. Now this is one of my favorite tricks that I love to do with layouts, is I will either put 3 down the side, or I will put 3 across. So there's absolutely no matting, and there's no space whatsoever between them. And I just actually really like that continuity. Sometimes when there's separation between things, it just gets very choppy. So here is something where, again, I put 2 of these. This was 2 mats that I decided I didn't want to use the matte boxes. So what did I do? I just put, they were horizontals, I put verticals, and then just have this sticking out as a little bit of color. Also a tip is you don't feel as if a photo has to stay on one page. This was the same photo. All I did was cut it in half and stick it on 1/2 on each side. And I think, okay, this was just the last page that I had. Again, this particular set has this in the autumn, in the yellow colors, and so I added this border at the bottom, another one of those titles. I did this one photo. I actually didn't like this did not come with a mat, and I wanted to use a mat for it, so I just threw a mat on there. And on this side, this photo doesn't have a mat. This has one, but it's only partial. So those are actually pages that I did from this one. And I just wanted to show you what that looked like. Okay. Next, I'm just going to actually open this up. This is the Ever After set, which is technically brought out for the wedding season. But when you look at these colors, you could use them for just about anything. You could use them for birthdays, you could use them for Mother's Day, you can use them for bridal showers. Anything where these muted kind of sage green, light pink, there is some wood tones in here, so while it is wedding based, it is very versatile. And again, on this one, if you actually look, there are no mats that are on here. There's no boxes to tell you where to do things. Now, a lot of folks like the boxes if they're first starting out, because I don't really know where to put photos on the page. They're still kind of learning composition. So there are some collections that still have that, but most of the newer ones are like this. So here, I'm just going to open this up. And I'm opening this. This was something I was going to sell, but I'm actually going to be using it coming up. So I thought I might as well open it for you guys on camera so you can actually see what all is inside of here. Okay, that's done. So here's a little tip for you that I don't think I've ever shared. You may want to, like if you have a paper pack or something, you may want to keep this. The reason for that is down in this right-hand corner, and I'm pulling in close, do you see where it says 0219? That is going to tell you the actual month that this was released. This is also here the SKU number. So if, for example, you ever decide you really loved an image, maybe it was a paper pack, and if you keep these and they fold in half really nice, you can actually trim a little bit of this off and it'll fit in an 8.5 by 11 size. And what that will do for you, because you don't really need the Creative Memories piece because it's going to be down here with the logo and everything. So if you actually just trim it here and you trim right to that part, you'll get the 11. And then the 8.5, basically just folding it, you'll get that. But what this will do is it'll give you a guide if you ever want another set of that paper or whatever it is that you need more of, you'll have exactly what it is. A lot of times I will see posts where somebody has one picture of a piece of paper and they're like, what collection did this go to? So this is just a quick tip that if you bought this, you could just trim it down a little bit, fold it in half, and put it in a folder somewhere. And especially if it's something that you really like. If you bought it and you weren't unsure, maybe you'll keep it, maybe you won't. But otherwise, that's definitely something that's going to be helpful. So what'll happen is once you take that paper off, you've got this front cover, which you were able to see since the packaging was clear. You have your 16 pages, and then you also have the page protectors, which by themselves are also separately wrapped. So let's look at these pages specifically. And unfortunately right now I don't have my laptop down here. I'm having some battery issues. So if anybody has asked any questions, I will watch this back and answer those. And I am going to just move the camera one more time to get a little tilt up. That way this will help for being able to see the whole page. So that's all it is. It's a white page with that little bit of border. I mean, how cute would that be? I mean, especially with these, some of these you could, if you went to Charleston, if you went to Washington, D.C. in the summertime, if you went anywhere, you know, that the little bit of floral would make sense. Hawaii, the beach, anything. And then the next two pages actually look like this. There's a border on the right side of the other one. And it just has this really, really soft floral pattern. So this was the other side of it. And then you've got two pages here. And this is just these little X's with this pink hint here. And then on the right side, the pink hint is up in this corner. And then you've got your wood pattern. So I said there's a couple that had wood patterns, but you also have this kind of like almost burnished flower pattern into the corner. And again, it'll be on the bottom right of the opposite side. And in here, it's again the same thing. This time around, this pattern, instead of having on the outer edges, the pattern's in the middle. This side, we happen to have the bottom, actually, of a flower. And then over here is the top part of that. So, I mean, these are so pretty that you could use them for a lot of different things. And again, if you don't like one of the pages, like maybe you don't like this layout, put paper over it. Or put a mat over this piece. There's so many different things you can do to hide things. These days, this one again just has this little bit of edge there. Hi, Virginia. Hi, Linda. And then this has, again, a lot of these now just have a little bit of edging with some decoration around the sides. This side goes back to a pure white page again with a little bit of the floral. This one just has a border down the bottom this time around. And then here's another one where it's this really kind of like whitewashed look. So it's very open for what you want. It is a pinker look, and this is its opposite side. And we're almost done with this pack, and then that's pretty good. Again, that one's got a bottom border, similar to the other one, but it's in green this time. This just has the leaf border around the side. And there's like 2 more pages. Again, we have that wood. This time around, if you remember the last one I showed you, it was up in this corner and in here. Now they flipped it, so it's down in this corner, and then the opposite page is up here. This is pretty plain. Again, it has just those little tiny cross, kind of like X's. This is another light wood grain with just that little bit of a border on the end. And then it ends just with that. So that's actually what one of these looks like. Now you can imagine if you have any of our embellishments, you have flowers. So in springtime, if you're planting flowers, maybe if some of them are really pretty, take a couple photos of them and just throw a couple pages in there. I have an album I'm working on that's like, you know, a day in the life kind of thing. And so it's whatever fits my mood. It doesn't have to be theme specific. It doesn't have to be chronological necessarily. I know some folks are pure chronological folks, but that doesn't mean you can't have an album that could be random thoughts. Could be, what's your favorite movies? You know, maybe you print something out from the web, and a movie, maybe you had a conversation. For example, my team, because I work at an electric company, there's a movie out right now called Current Wars. And it's really about a couple of the major pioneers of lighting and electricity. And it was actually a pretty good movie. Turns out both one of the, let's see if I get this right, a Game of Thrones person and a Marvel character were both in this movie. As one of them was a primary role and the other was the primary role's assistant. So it was pretty cool to actually see folks from, you know, those kind of genres in this movie, and it helped bring it to life a little more. I'm not recommending that you necessarily watch the movie. I hate history, but I actually enjoyed this movie a little bit. But I'm going to add a page in my journal, or in my scrapbook, you know, the day in the life, about that. So I'm probably going to print out a picture of the characters and just kind of, you know, talk about that a little bit. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show with these pre-designed pages. I honestly love them. I don't use them for everything, but I love that I can have these extra things that are already designed. And frankly, when this is the way that I've been able to sometimes go to a crop, spend 7 hours there, and get almost 60 pages done. A one-day crop, I got 3 albums completed because I used only these pages. And then that was about a year and a half ago, I think. And then more recently, I went and actually completed about 35 pages in a 5-hour event because I had these things where, yes, I could come back and add a little journaling and maybe do a couple embellishments because, you know, when you go away to a crop, there's always something you realize you left behind. But the photos were down, my journaling was down, I had some embellishments on the page, and I really didn't have to do anything more because they already were taken care of. And then it becomes, if I have time, I'll go back and maybe add couple more flourishes, but I don't need to do that. So the last part is I wanted to just re-show you again what, and actually I can use this album as part of it. So I just wanted to spend 5 minutes and just re-show you what the other custom items you can get from the Creative Memories if you use their albums. You can get the spines, and they have a lot of different fonts. They've got 3 different colors, and any of the current album colors that are in the standard line you can get. There's about 12 or 13 different colors you can do, and you can tell here that this is not an exact match, but that's okay. You don't always have to have the same. Sometimes fitting something that's next to it on the color wheel and sometimes something that's directly across for a contrast is perfectly fine. And there is a video that I did earlier in the year. Let's see, what was that from? That might have actually been all the way back. That might have, actually, it looks like it was one of last year's videos on the color expression color wheel. The other thing here I just wanted to show you was a reminder of what you can do now with a full-size photo that can be blown up to not only cover the whole front of the album, but it will wrap all the way around. This is one photo. Now I took, with my camera, I switched it to panoramic, and it turns out I actually took a bigger photo than could fit here, so I actually got this truncated, because here you can just make out the end post here where they kick field goals through. But I actually had continued the photo a little bit beyond to also get more past it. But, I mean, this is the same book cloth that we have now. It wraps around again, as I mentioned at one point, on the inside. And doesn't that look very cool? It will work with white photos. It will work with anything. And they have other options too if you just want to put a couple photos. Or maybe you want the front to be one thing, the spine to be normal, and the back to be another photo. There's a lot of different templates that you can play around with. And the only other thing I was going to show you really quick again was what if you heard me before talk about making pages be whichever set you wanted. Like, you don't want to follow the standard colors that they gave you, and you want to actually do digital. This will just show you a little bit of what that digital looks like. So this, again, this was actually the color set that we started with. So you can kind of tell these are the same here because they are the browns. This was part of it, but I added this into it. Over here on this side, I added this arrow into it. I added this whole thing and purposely overlapped that. This arrow was actually on it, and I was basically mirroring it. I added the text. So there's a lot of different things. And while this is the same color set, over here, I, for whatever reason, decided I wanted to switch color sets. And here again, this I believe was from one of either the essentials. So anybody who might have bought it for the bright primary colors, they know exactly what I'm talking about here. Then of course I went back to the blues for whatever reason. And you can even do things, I need to get to a page where I have it. So this is actually a sticker that I bought and added to it because it happened to be the same building that I was showing here in the photo. And I am just trying to find one of the pages that I did this on, because this is the last thing that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, this is actually two things here. So This page here had this background. I added this element to it, and you wouldn't even know it wasn't part of it naturally. And this is just one of those little thin like cardboard die cuts that's a little thick, and then I just used a marker and colored that in. So I mean, you can do a lot of things with this. I swear one of these earlier ones had something and I ran past it too quick. Ah, yep, I thought so. So you can actually, if you're wondering, can you mat things? Yes, you can. There's the mat. I would always recommend putting the mat down first and then move your photo to it, because it's easier in the program to move your photo than it is to resize your mat. So all three of these, I added a little black background to it just to make that pop. And this, again, was my Philadelphia trip, so there's the Liberty Bell and that obligatory selfie that you all know that you should take when you go on vacation to actually prove that you were actually at a place. So, I mean, this worked out really well. And it wasn't much, it really was very similar pricing-wise to do the pages as if you've ever used any of the other sites where you could upload your photos, and they're like about $2 a page. The only thing you didn't get with this is you did not get page protectors, so I did have to buy those separate. So really, that is everything that I wanted to actually share with folks. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know I wanted to keep this to about half an hour. It was going to be 20 to 30 minutes, but then I added the box reveal at the very beginning. So if you came on late, watch the beginning because the November products are in there. It's about 8:10. So the last thing I'm going to say is, if you remember seeing this, which hopefully you have, there's one more event. It is December 18th. That video has not been determined. I have posted in the group a request, a poll, for you guys to actually add in what you would want to see for that December video. It doesn't matter if it's something I've done before. If I have the knowledge on it, whatever answer wins the most is what I'll do. And if nobody actually responds and gives me any video, well, then I get the month off. So I'll get an early Christmas present to myself. But that will be the last officially scheduled video for the year. Otherwise, like I said, I'm going to rewind this and take a look at it and just see what questions folks might have. And I will post those answers. I'm also going to post a lot of these samples that I'm seeing people make for both this and this border cartridge for the border maker system. And finally, I am going to repeat that offer. If you have been on the fence about trying any of these custom pages and you buy a set through me and you find out you don't like them, let me know, because whatever you have left over, I'll probably be able to buy those right back off of you. So you would not be out much money. So it's really a low risk option. I can help you look at, because I do have myself some of the ones that are no longer available, like we see here. So if there's a event or a color scheme that you're looking for, let me know, and I'll be able to kind of help guide you on what might be the best fit there. So other than that, I'm going to end this and I'm going to say goodnight. Thanks everyone for watching. Just have to move the camera to actually get to the finish button.